What's going on, guys? Alex here with 814 EDC, and today I have a pretty cool video to do for you guys. I'm going to be talking about my most sentimental knives. Yes, that is right, my most sentimental knives. Now you're probably saying, Alex, isn't every knife you own pretty sentimental? And while I'll answer you yes to that question, there are definitely some knives that are more sentimental than others. So how this started was in the one group chat I'm in with, a lot of other knife reviewers. We were talking and someone brought up doing some tag videos. So there is a tag going around the YouTube, knife space of, there's probably been what? There's probably 30 of us in that group chat, give or take, 5 or so. And we were talking and, we were trying to toss some ideas out there for, some good tag videos to do for to make some more content. And someone, I think it was Kevin over at Duty's Daggers, brought up sentimental knives. And, it's kind of what we chose on to start. And I was tagged by Kevin over at Left EDC. So if you guys have not seen his video, definitely go check it out. His video is cool. There's some definitely, I always like when Kevin digs out some of his older knives because I've been watching Kevin for a while. I watched him for a little bit of time. I don't know how much time before my channel started. But Kevin's always been a buddy. And I just remember back when he started watching, how he did videos and how he did knife reviews and how, the way he collected from then, and everybody changes tastes. But it's cool to, for him to be talking about some of his knives back when he started his channel, and some of the stuff, because I remember watching his videos about the knives he talked about. And it was a cool, sort of blast from the past. But he tagged me, Brad over at Screaming Pirate, and Kevin, Duty's Daggers. So I'm going to be tagging Corey over at Stafford's EDC and Mike over at Sharpened Blade. I know I was supposed to do 3, but I cannot, off the top of my head, I cannot think of a third one. Hopefully Corey and Mike have not yet done it, but I'm going to leave a link to their channels down below. Corey is a good buddy of mine. He is probably one of my better, knife friends in the community. We don't chat as much as, we used to, just because I know life's busy, but, Corey, if you're watching this, you are one of my buddies, man. So I always appreciate you. Corey sent me, I've talked about Corey before on the channel. He sent me some dope ass knives. I've gotten to check out a Oz Roosevelt from him. I've gotten to check out a 2 burgers from him. One was the LEXK, I believe, and one was the Urban, and that started my love for the Urban. So Corey's a good dude. So go check his channel out. And Mike, Sharpened Blade. We've only been chit-chatting for, it's ever since he got tossed into our knife reviewer group, but Mike is a great guy. He is from Canada, so he's always talking about paying for customs and stuff like that, and shipping from U.S. retailers and stuff like that to get knives in. He's a great guy. Another smaller channel, kind of like me and Corey. So definitely go check him out below. And again, hopefully you guys have not been tagged yet. But without further ado, I'm going to talk about a few of my knives. I have 4 specific ones that I brought up to chat with you guys about. And the first one is going to be probably a little bit of surprise to people. But, it's what got me into the hobby. It's what, sort of, made me want to start collecting. It was the first, expensive knife, and you guys can see me holding it. It's a bug out. It's the Benchmade bug out, of course. And this just was kind of like the gateway for me. So the first 2 knives that I had, the first one that I ever had, can I say that any more times in my video? The first one that I ever bought for myself was a bird knife, and it wasn't a slip joint, but it was a non-locking knife. I rocked out for, I don't know, a couple months at school. And then eventually I bought a Rat 2, Altair Rat 2 and D2, and I rocked that for quite a while. But then I asked for this for Christmas, and this was a present from my parents. And it was the first, over $100 knife, because I think at the time these were like 112. Now they're like 150, 160. It's crazy what inflation does. But this was, the first knife that really, the first premium knife that I have ever had in the collection. And again, it was a present from my parents, which was, really nice. And I still have it to this day. This is my go-to work knife. As many of you know, if you're, viewers of the channel, I have been roofing for, It's now the middle of April. I've almost roofed for a year. I started back in May, and I'm just waiting for my fiance to be done with school in this upcoming month of May. So then I'll, we're gonna move in together, find jobs in our profession. But I've stayed roofing just because it pays well. I've been chilling at home, saving money, buying knives. But I've carried this knife practically every day that I've roofed. I've tossed in a few other knives here and there, but I keep going back to this one just because it's lightweight. You guys know what a bug out is. It's lightweight, it's thin, great ergos, great slicey blade, just an awesome knife. It's kind of been passed by. It's definitely, the bug out was the rave, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, back when it first came out. And it's, it's still a very, very popular knife, but people, the hype about it has kind of subsided. But, guys like me, I still love the knife. I still love the platform. And this is definitely my most hard use knife. You guys can see, I just use the shit out of it. It probably needs, it doesn't probably need, it definitely needs a good sharpening, a good touch up. The S30V though has been awesome for cutting plastic, rope, rubber, just anything around the roof that I need to cut on a day-to-day basis. This thing has done it with flying colors. It's dirty, it's banged up. I mean, the pivot, or not the pivot, but well, I guess the whole pivot area is just gross. It probably needs cleaned out. The scales are darker than when, you originally get them from factory, just from oils and dirt and just grime kind of baking themselves in there. You guys might be able to pick up on some of the dirt on some of the edges of the knife, but this thing is just, it's been there for me. And, it's sentimental again because it was the first knife in my collection that was premium. It was a present from it was the first knife present for my parents, and they've gone on to buy 5 or 6 knives for me over the course of the last couple Christmases. But this thing is just reliable. Again, it's so slim, lightweight, slicey. I don't need to tell you about these things about the bug out because you guys know about the bug out. And I keep telling myself, and I fully plan on doing it, but once I'm done roofing and once I'm done, kind of tossing this thing around and beating it up and being that dirty with it, I don't care about, using it to cut things with. I don't care about the blade finish and stuff like that. But I don't want to put any new scales on here until I get done with that because I don't want to stain the scales and I want to keep them nice for a little bit of time. But I'm planning on getting some of the Applied Weapons Tech Archon, I think, scales for this, and cleaning it up and, making this a knife I want to carry again back in the rotation, not just for work. But fantastic. I love this knife. I'm never going to sell this knife. It's definitely, in my collection forever. And, that's why it's sentimental for me. So first knife up on the list is the Benchmade Bug Out. Next up is the first knife that I ever bought that was expensive. And I can remember back at the time when I bought this, it was Christmas. Sorry. I had used Christmas money for it because it came out right before, in between Christmas and New Year's. I believe it was the year 2020, I think, or 2021. I think it was 2020, but it was before, no, it was the year COVID sort of started. It was either in 20 or 21, I forget which one. But it was the first knife that was right around $200, and that was the most that I had ever spent on a knife before. Again, I remember using Christmas money for it, and after I purchased it from Urban EDC Supply, that might give you a little bit of a hint before I reveal the knife. But I remember thinking to myself, like, holy shit, I just spent $200 on a knife. Like, that was mind-blowing to me. And here I am 2-3 years later. I still haven't got to like that $400, $500 mark yet. And it's going to be a while before I get to like $600, $700, $800 for Rosies and Ariuses and stuff like that, to where I just feel like it's just nothing spending that much money on a knife. But I've, $300 to $350, I've bought a few knives in that price range, and, I've sort of broken that seal. But it's crazy to see how your mindsets shift and stuff like that. But again, I just remember thinking like, oh my God, I just spent that much money on a knife. Like, what am I doing? Like, what am I getting myself into? So that's why this knife is sentimental for me, because it was, that first expensive knife that I ever bought myself. It's kind of, pushed me forward into, knife collecting and making a collection. And you guys can probably guess by now, but this knife is the Urban EDC Supply exclusive Voxnays F5.5 in natural micarta and M390. And, very similar to the Bug Out, the F5.5 needs no introduction. Kevin totes this knife all the time as being the best production EDC knife that you can buy. You can't always go buy it when it's, you know, you can't go every single day and buy it, but as long as you pay attention to Urban EDC Supply and their drop patterns and stuff like that, they always announce stuff like a week in advance. Like I think this past, it was either today, I'm filming this on Wednesday, or it was last Wednesday, they dropped a fully PVD coated with orange G10 scales. They've done that. They've done, I believe, jade. They've done a Stormtrooper. They've done titanium with Sagaha pattern. They've done so many different variations of this knife. It has to be, you know, it has to be their best seller. And they sell a lot of really cool stuff, but the F5.5 just has to be up there with, you know, top 3 at least of their best selling items. It's just a really popular design. It's very good for the price point. It's, you know, it's gone up a little bit since then. I think the G10 versions go for, I think it was $239. But just great materials, you know, like I said, M390, you know, it's re-op made, a great design. That was my fault. Great detent, really good ergos, just a great package. And this has stayed in the collection, you know, as long, you know, this is one of my oldest knives that I've had. And I've tossed around the idea of selling it, you know, probably 15, 20 times by now. You know, sometimes when you know, there's some stuff coming up that I want and I'm like, okay, I got to go through the knife case, check out what I can sell. You know, I always seem to land on this and I always pull it out and I flick it and I'm like, you know what? No, I don't want to sell it because it's special to me. You know, I've had it for so long. It's the first, you know, pretty expensive knife that I ever bought myself. So that, excuse me, that has been a huge reason why I stayed in the collection. And again, it's just a great knife, you know, just, I love the way this knife looks. I've always really loved the the aesthetics, the pill-shaped hole, the nice sheep's foot style blade, kind of has an upswept belly. Just all around a fantastic carry. And I, you know, never plan on selling this. It's basically in my collection for life now. It's just, you know, I think that, and then I pick it up and then I fidget with it and then I carry it for a couple days. Because if I'm being honest, this doesn't get carried nearly as much as it used to, just due to me getting other stuff in to review and, you know, newer knives that I'm, you know, adding to my collection. You guys can see I've carried the shit out of this. Nice, you know, dark patina from the oils, you know, when I've carried it. Just a dope knife. And you guys, you know, most of you have probably handled an F5.5 by now, or you at least have, you know, watched a lot of videos on it. So you can tell it's just a good knife. So yeah, just a great design, really compact, but really EDC friendly, you know, re-op made, awesome design. So the second knife in my sentimental little video is the Urban EDC Supply F5.5. Now these last two, I'm kind of going to talk about them together because they were a together present. And these are the first 2 knives that my fiance has ever gifted me. Now she gifted them to me for our, we're coming up on our 8-year anniversary. She's my high school sweetheart. I'm 24. She's turning 23 in 9 days. We've been together. I was 15. She was 14. No, sorry. I was 16. She was 15 when we started dating. You know, I was going in my junior year of high school, and I've been graduated from school with a master's degree for a year. So we've been together for a while. You know, we're engaged. We're getting married later this fall in October. And she gave me these for our 5th or last year was 7, 6. I think it was our 5th year anniversary was when she gave me these 2 knives. And, you know, are they the best knives in the world? Absolutely not. You know, they're not the best quality knives. They're not the best, you know, materials. But that doesn't matter to me just because, you know, they're gifts from her. She, you know, went on her own. She picked them out. You know, the one has a pretty, you know, funny, you know, meaning behind why she wanted to buy it for me. And they're special to me. They're never going to leave the collection. I don't carry them that often. You know, just because I don't want them to get ruined. I don't want them to get, you know, rusted or dropped or any potential chance of, you know, me, you know, potentially beating the knife up. I do carry them once in a while, but for the most part, they just kind of chill in the knife case, and I do fidget with them, you know, every once in a while. But they're just, again, they're special because they're from her. They were the, you know, she, you know, went out, picked them out for her, for me. And she gifted to them, I cannot talk today, guys. I'm sorry. She gifted them to me. See, I'm just lost of words for my fiance. But she gifted them to me for our anniversary. And, you know, one knife, the Civivi Hooligan, and the other knife is a Kershaw Highball XL. So the funny thing is about the Hooligan, she was just going through looking at knives. She came across, the Hooligan, and she was like, you know what? She basically made the connection to like me being her Hooligan. And I think I've talked about that on the channel before. So that's why she went with this. And then I think she saw on one of my knife lists that this knife was on it at the time. So she decided to go with this for me. And you know, the Highball XL, it's in D2, stainless steel, but it has great action. It's very thin, has a loop over style deep carry clip. Getting bit by mosquitoes. But it's a good, you know, comfortable knife. It's very, you know, very slim, very thin. But you know, it's very fidget friendly, has a great drop. So this is a dope knife. I like it. And then the Hooligan, it's on washers. I believe it's one of the only Civivi knives ever made on washers. So the action isn't that good. It's kind of tight, because if I don't have it as tight as it is, the blade play is horrible. There's even some blade play still in there, but it has a pretty good, pretty satisfying thud on the thumb flick. And you can middle finger flick it if you get enough gas behind it. But the cool thing about this knife is this has one of the thinnest hollow grinds I have ever handled in a knife. This thing is just ridiculously thin, has a really nice belly, comes down to a thin edge. It's a very usable blade shape, kind of stubby, kind of pokey, but again, has that beautiful belly. And I believe this is D2. It's either D2 or 9CR, but I'm pretty sure it's D2. Very comfortable in hand, very ergonomic. Again, kind of, you know, the whole knife is kind of sort of short and stubby, and you have this choil up here, so it's comfortable. But as a user, you know, I don't carry this that much anymore, but I think this, you know, overall blade shape and design and ergos, kind of how it has the finger grooves the whole way down along there, as well as a deep carry clip. So special right there. It's very comfortable, has a nice little poon area up here for your hand. And again, that hollow grind is just ridiculous. Sometimes I have to, you know, pinch myself and be like, did Civivi really do that? Yeah, they did do that. And I wish they did more grinds like this and more hollow ground blades like this. But, you know, that's why they're sentimental to me. First two presents from my fiance. Girlfriend at the time, now fiance, and she just, you know, I love her. She's awesome. You know, I can't say enough great things about her. Obviously, you know, we wouldn't be together if, you know, we didn't love each other. I don't know why I said that. But, you know, most people, you know, especially at our age, 24, almost 23, 8 years is a lot to date somebody. But, you know, it always makes me really happy whenever I'm getting into a little bit of a sappy side here, so I apologize. But, you know, if I ever meet someone new, or if I'm telling someone about, you know, my fiance and stuff like that, it always makes me really happy when I get to say, like, oh, yeah, she's my high school sweetheart. Because, you know, I feel like that's not a thing nowadays. Like, I think that was definitely more in, like, our grandparents' age, like, back in, you know, 40, 50 years ago, that was more like you wanted to have a high school sweetheart. But in today's day of age, you know, the way dating is, like, it is, you know, it's not seen that much anymore. So again, it just makes my heart happy, makes me, you know, always smile when I get to say that. But Kershaw Highball XL and the Civivi Hooligan are the last two sentimental knives that I want to talk about. Again, from my fiance. And those will always be, you know, these will be two special pieces in my collection that I will never get rid of, and I'll always cherish. And, you know, 20 years from now, when I pick up this knife, I'm going to say, you know, she bought this for me because I'm a hooligan, I'm her hooligan, and this is the hooligan, and you guys know what's going on. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. Those four are, you know, the most sentimental knives in my collection. And of course, you know, every knife that my parents bought me has been, you know, or is sentimental. My fiance has bought me, most recently, you guys probably see or have seen, the customized Victorinox Pioneer with 814 EDC on it. So that's, you know, very cherished. She's bought me a pen before. So, you know, there have been knives that have been given to me from, I gotta get out of here because these mosquitoes, I think one just went down my shirt. But there have been knives given to me from, you know, other channels. Kevin has given me a knife. Ethan Ruins EDC has given me a knife. Joe, the knife whisperer, who I think has kind of gone off the deep end and, you know, isn't really in the community anymore, has given me a knife. So I've had a lot of sentimental knives in my collection, but these four were kind of the, you know, the main ones that stuck out to me. And I hope you guys enjoyed the stories about them. I know it wasn't a super, like, you know, knife, you know, data driven video. It wasn't a review, but, you know, hopefully you guys, you know, sat back and, you know, learned a little bit about myself, learned a little bit about what I, you know, view as sentimental, and knives and stuff like that. So again, I'm going to leave Corey and Mike's channels linked down below. They are the two that I'm going to do, you know, my tag for. So definitely go check them out and watch for their video. And yeah, I really, you know, I enjoyed this. Hopefully we do some more open tag stuff soon. We did talk about a few other subjects in our group chat. It's just more content for you guys. It's more, you know, it's a way to, you know, learn sort of more about the person that you're, you know, you're watching, a little bit more personable. So I enjoy it. Hopefully we do some more soon, but yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. I would just, you know, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to wrap it up now before I start rambling. But thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your morning, evening, night, whenever you're watching this. Hope you guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.